How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Play-by-Play with me, your host, Matt Severino. I'm very pleased to have you guys back for another video. I'm going to keep this one as short as possible. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the game that happened last night, Thursday Night Football. It was quite an interesting one, to say the least. The Chargers versus the Chiefs. I picked the Chargers to win this game. I was clearly wrong. There was a 2.5 point spread, and I picked the Chargers to cover that because I picked them to win, and they missed it by a point. So that's just how these things go. You can't predict everything in sports. It was one heck of a game. It was one of those games that are so good, so close. It can really only be chosen by a crazy play, some type of great play out of nowhere, and it was made by a 7th round rookie cornerback for the Kansas City Chiefs on a 99-yard pick six. Justin Herbert tried to make the tackle on the play, and he got stiff-armed to the ground. It was quite entertaining, to say the least, but overall, it was just it was one of the best games that we're going to get this season. It was two of the top dogs, two of the top competitors in the league. I had the Chargers at 2 and the Chiefs at 3. I mean, just based off principle, I kind of have to swap that around, now that the Chiefs won. But I got to say, I didn't expect the Chiefs to pull it out, but it really just came down to experience. It just came down to experience. Patrick Mahomes is older. Andy Reid has been coaching in the league for much longer than Brandon Staley. Andy Reid was the head coach of the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles. They showed a little graphic last night. Andy Reid was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles back in 1999, and Brandon Staley was a high school quarterback same year. So that just goes to show, there's a big difference in experience in this game, and it was on display. That was a Super Bowl worthy game. It came down to the wire. It was a shame to see the Chargers lose because of, honestly, what I consider not the best game management, clock management by Brandon Staley. They were down 10, and after they scored that touchdown late to make it 24-27, they only had one timeout left, and that put them in a situation where the only thing they could do is go for an onside kick, and you're not going to win that. Odds are you're not going to win that onside kick, and that's not really what you want to leave the game up to. I would rather... We've all seen Patrick Mahomes score in under a minute. We know what the man's capable of. We know what the Chiefs are capable of. We've seen it. We saw it last night. We saw it in Game 1 against the Cardinals. But at the end of the day, we also know what this Chargers defense is capable of, and they were really getting into Patrick Mahomes' head early on in this one. The Chiefs only scored. They scored once out of the entire first half, which is not. It's not like them. To hold the Chiefs to one touchdown through a whole half of football is honestly impressive, even without Tyreek Hill on the roster. So I would have, if I was him, the one thing you can't do is lose those timeouts, no matter what. When you're in the second half against the Kansas City Chiefs, it's the same. It was the same story last year. When the Chargers lost in the playoffs, it came down to the wire. It was a one-score game, and they didn't have those timeouts at the end, and there was nothing they could do. I think Brandon Staley's learned his lesson by now. Other than that, Brandon Staley learned his lesson about going forward on fourth down. It's something that I completely believe in. It's a great call against the Chiefs. You really have to question whether or not you want to do that. And he did a really good job of picking and choosing when he should and shouldn't go forward on fourth down. And I think it worked out very well in their favor. Justin Herbert was a monster in this game. He was he completed 33 out of 48 passes for 334 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, and he took 2 sacks on 8 pressures for a passer rating of 100.5. I mean, and the dude broke his rib. The team, I don't think the team came out and said what the injury really is, but if you watch that tackle halfway with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, shoulder pad came straight down on his rib cage, and he was in a serious amount of pain for the rest of that game. And the fact that he was only out for one play just goes to show the type of guy that Justin Herbert is. He doesn't play around. He takes this seriously. This is his job. This is his passion. Not everybody comes back in the game after breaking the rib cage and does as well as he did. He didn't play perfect after that. He definitely looked phased by it. And there was one play where it was a 3rd and 1, and all he had to do, there was nobody open downfield, and all he had to do was walk the 1 yard and step out of bounds. He had the space to do it, and you could see the pain on his face. He was frustrated, and he just chucked that football away. And, everybody was sitting there questioning why didn't he just go for the yard, and honestly, I think he was just in so much pain, he wasn't thinking right, and I think he just chucked it. So the way the Chargers reacted was by going for it on 4th and 1, and it was a very quick play, and he just chucked that ball downfield to some type of post route, and it put them right inside of the 10-yard line. It was impressive, to say the least. It goes to show the type of quarterback Justin Herbert is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, top 5, maybe even top 3. And that's what we got. We got a battle of 2 of the top quarterbacks, 2 of the top teams, and at the end of the day, all it came down to was, that one massive interception that came out of nowhere. I honestly thought that play was a bad decision by Justin Herbert. He threw the ball to the bigger receiver. The receiver is, he's slower and bigger. He could have just lobbed the ball up in the air, but instead he tried to throw it straight to get the ball there quickly, and the young, speedy cornerback jumped the route and took it the whole way. It's kind of just what happens. Everybody makes that mistake in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, he didn't throw a single interception in that game, but he had 3 plays. He had 3 throws that were absolutely interception worthy. It hit the hands of the defender all 3 of those plays, and he was taking a deep breath after each one. And honestly, if any of those balls were caught, this is a different game, completely different game. But that's why, with all the plays that happened, realistically, all it comes down to is just who's been here before, who's been in this situation more times, and it showed that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and their Kansas City Chiefs have been there. They've been in that situation, and they knew how to deal with it, where Justin Herbert and Brandon Staley have only been there, a few times in the past, even though Justin Herbert looks like he's been out there doing this for 20 years. It just comes down to game management, man. And the Chargers and Chiefs are playing again later on in the season. That is one game that I highly recommend everybody mark on their calendar. I don't care if your favorite team is playing at the same time. Watch that football game. Even if you have to put it on a separate TV, if you have to stream it on your phone, do what you can. Make sure you keep an eye on that game, because I know Justin Herbert has that date marked on his calendar. So does Patrick Mahomes, and so does the rest of these 2 teams. That is going to be even better than this one, because now they've played each other. Now they know where, both teams have kind of gone through some changes over the offseason, and now they know where each other stands. And they're ready. They're both going to be ready. They're both going to prepare an insane amount for that game. And it's probably going to have, that game alone had enough division championship implications. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs lead their division. Somehow they're the only undefeated team in that division. I guess that's what happens when 3 of the teams play each other in the first 2 weeks of football. But I'm just impressed, and I'm pretty much at a loss of words for how good of a game of football I just watched. The Chiefs play the Bills later on this year. That is going to be another top-notch game. That is another game I highly recommend you mark on your calendar. Make sure you keep an eye on that one. Sadly, the Chargers don't play the Bills this year, which I would have loved to watch. Maybe we'll get to see it in the playoffs. Maybe not. You never know. AFC playoffs is going to be a blood fest. That is going to be scary, fun, exciting, and all I have to say is just stay tuned, and enjoy the show. Other than that, a couple stats I want to highlight. Patrick Mahomes was 24 for 35, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He took 1 sack on 9 rushes, and his passer rating was 106. Clyde Edwards-Helaire only had 8 carries in that game for 74 yards. He averaged 9.3 yards per carry. He didn't score a touchdown, but I'm just saying they should probably put the ball in his hands a little more, because he looks like the running back that they took out of the first round a year or 2 ago. Other than that, I mean, what's his name? Where is he? Chris Jones is one of the best defensive linemen in this league. He's a big boy, and he gets off that ball quick. He gets off the snap quick. He had 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss in that game. That is extremely impressive out of the defensive tackle position. He was a major piece when they won the Super Bowl, and he's just been a major. He's kind of that centerpiece of their defense. And you know, this Chargers team would not look, this Chiefs team would not look the same without him. They would not. He struggled in the first half of this game, and once they switched him over to the other side of the field, he dominated. He absolutely dominated, and it really helped boost the Chiefs into winning this game. The Chargers need to do a better job of getting into the backfield. They have 2 of the best edge rushers in the game, and Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. They were both a little quiet on the stat sheet in this game. I mean, Khalil Mack had half a sack, and Joey Bosa had a tackle for loss, but you know, they could step it up a little bit. Let me just check out. The Chargers did a pretty good job of dominating the time of possession. They had the ball for 33 minutes and 37 seconds against the Chiefs with 26 minutes and 23 seconds, which is very impressive considering how... I mean, the Chiefs move the ball quick. That's how they play. But considering the fact that the Chargers were struggling running the ball in this game, they only averaged 3.1 yards per carry. That's pretty impressive. Mike Williams, after a quiet week 1, 8 receptions on 10 targets, 113 yards, averaging out for 14.1 yards per reception and a touchdown. I saw some type of statistic where he is the, I think the only player
looking for Kelce, still looking for Kelce. Now has to escape, and this is where he's so dangerous. Rolling to his right, wide.
I hope that didn't just start and wasn't running this whole video. I saw some type of crazy statistic where Mike Williams is the only player other than Travis Kelce to have over 100 yards and over, I think it was like 14 yards per reception in 3 different games in Arrowhead Stadium over the past however many years. You know, he is a very good receiver, and he showed up today. in the absence of Keenan Allen. They also had some other young wide receiver who looked amazing in that game. Was it Gerald Everett? Yeah, Gerald Everett was in that second half. I don't know where he came from, but at tight end, he became Justin Herbert's favorite receiver. He just started targeting him. You know, I think Gerald Everett only had like maybe 2 targets in the first half, ended the game with 10. He played very well. Yeah, I'm just impressed with these two teams. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but if you didn't see that play where Derwin James lifted up Travis Kelce and put him on his back, I highly recommend looking up that clip right now because that was impressive. Travis Kelce is a big man, 250 pounds, 6'5". Derwin James at 6'2", 215, lifted him up off the air, up into the air, and pounded him straight on the ground. Looked like a WWE takedown. And when is this game? When do they play again? I need to mark this down on my own calendar. They play on week 8? No, they play week 10. They play week 10. It's going to be 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So odds are your favorite team isn't going to be playing at that time period. And if you can get that game up on your TV, watch it. And that's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you for coming around, sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. And, take care.